Anybody gonna help Al Pacino out? If you look at Pacino, it's hard to imagine, and I say this with great respect because I love him, it's hard to imagine that maybe he's got another Academy Award nomination in him, you know? I mean, you just run out of time, I suppose. But you look at Robert De Niro, still crushing it. Interesting sort of comparison there. All in all, I thought everything was kind of the way I thought it would go. I wasn't expecting Emma Stone to win. She now has 2 Academy Awards. It's a very, very elite crowd who has multiple awards. Now she does. I will say this about Poor Things. I think it's probably more intelligent than I am. It's the only Best Picture film that I turned off after 15 minutes. I think I need to be in a better space for it, but it was hard for me to digest at first. I'm just being honest. I was a little confused about The Zone of Interest being nominated for Best Picture and Best Foreign Film. I'm not sure why it has to be both, and I'll say this mostly in support of Wim Wenders' Perfect Days, which I think is maybe the best film of the year. I did think Paul Giamatti was going to squeak out a victory for The Holdovers. Maybe The Holdovers was even going to win Best Picture. He's just such a likable guy, but I think half of any of the nominees in any category would have been deserving of the award. I do think maybe the most interesting fact of the night, there were 2. One is that I think the woman who was nominated for Best Actress in The Zone of Interest was also nominated in Anatomy of a Fall. Do I understand that correctly? Either she was nominated for both, or both films were nominated for Best Picture. Isn't that amazing? Has that ever happened before? Lastly, I think Jimmy Kimmel is probably the right person for the job. I understand why Hollywood doesn't really want a Ricky Gervais or a Chris Rock there to spit truth for 20 minutes because, you know, they kind of probably like their egos stroked a little bit, and Kimmel is kind of an insider. He's one of them. I would love to go to one of these. That is on the top of my like non-priority bucket list, you know, like the top priority would be like live in good health and like have a good job and have a good home and you know, be with my family and friends and relationships and all that. And then the other bucket list of things that I want to go to check off, I would love to go to one of these. So if you know how to go to one of these, let me know. I'd love to go. It would be amazing. I think I would have maybe the time of my life. One last thing, to have that star power in a room, and then to have one person like Ryan Gosling sort of captivate everyone's attention, how much star power does that take to do that? I mean, for the 20 seconds where he starts singing in his chair, I'm Just Ken, and gets up to the stage, everyone's kind of, you get the feeling at least, everyone's kind of like, this guy is so cool. He might be the coolest actor / celebrity that's ever been. Steve McQueen was cool, and Paul Newman was cool. You know, there were a lot of cool motherfuckers in the 70s, right? But at least since then, I think he might be the coolest. Well, overall, I thought it was pretty good. I did think there were still a few snubs. Godzilla -1, Dream Scenario, and then Perfect Days. I think they should have all been elevated into a much higher status. Maybe Best Picture, I think, at least for 2 of them. But what are you going to do? Maybe next year.